Hello, I'm Dr. Jane Tabor, audiologist for the Washington State Center for Childhood Deafness and Hearing Loss at the Washington School for the Deaf. And in this video, we're going to be discussing how you check an FM system with a hearing aid and a cochlear implant. So first I want to discuss with you how an FM system works. An FM system is composed of a transmitter and a receiver. The transmitter is worn by the speaker. The receiver is worn by the student who will be receiving the information. And basically, as the speaker talks into the lapel microphone, that signal is transmitted directly to the student, regardless of where they are in the room. Some of the benefits of using an FM system: it helps overcome the negative impact of background noise, reverberation, and distance from the speaker. It also eases communication for both the teacher and the student. It decreases vocal strain for the teacher and allows the student to listen comfortably and not get fatigued. So there's different types of FM systems. There's a personal FM system, a personal sound field, and a sound field FM system. And we're going to talk about each one of those in detail. Let's start with the personal FM system. Personal FM systems come in a variety of models. It depends on the manufacturer. Usually you can order them through a hearing aid company such as Phonak or Oticon. A personal FM system, like any FM system, is composed of a transmitter and a receiver. This particular model is the Phonak Campus S, which you might see in your classroom. Attached to the transmitter is a lapel microphone. On this model, you don't have to plug the microphone in. On some other models, there might be a 3.5 millimeter jack, and you have to make sure that that lapel microphone is plugged into the transmitter. That's important. And then you would attach the FM system somewhere on your body. Sometimes they have a loop that you wear around your neck, and you just want to make sure that the microphone is the appropriate distance from your mouth. And about 6 inches is what you want it to be. And an easy way to measure that is to simply go like this. And you want to make sure you're not wearing anything that might transmit static or interfere with the microphone signal, such as a scarf or a tie or anything like that. So it's important, once you have attached the microphone to you, that you avoid hitting the microphone with your hand. Sometimes some teachers might have papers in their hands and they rustle it against the microphone. That's really distracting and disturbing to the student who's listening to the microphone. You also want to make sure that you're wearing it, the microphone is above your shirt, not under a sweater or underneath your tie or something like that. You want to make sure you get a good clear signal for the student with no interference. So for personal FM, a student might have, there's different types of receivers that a student could have. They could have a universal receiver that looks something like this. A receiver attached by either a boot or it's integrated into the hearing aid. It's called a personal FM system because the student is the only person that's hearing the FM signal coming from the teacher. And this is usually done through the student's hearing aids. You power on the transmitter. Once it's been powered on, you look at the LCD screen. It'll show you what channel the student is on. After that, you want to go ahead and hit the sync button, and that's going to look a little bit different for each FM system. Depends on the model of FM system that you're using. You want to hold that down close to the receiver, and after a few seconds, the LCD screen will say sync OK, or it'll give you some sort of indicator to let you know that the hearing aid has been synced. The student, if this hearing aid is in their ear, will hear 2 beeps or some sort of indicator to let them know that they are now in their FM program. One way that you can check it is by getting your stethoscope out. Connecting the end of your stethoscope to the ear mold of the hearing aid and speak into it, and you should hear your voice coming through the hearing aid. I often get asked if a student should remove the receiver part of the FM system before they go outside to play. I would suggest that they just leave it on, because pulling it on and off too much weakens the connection between the boot and the receiver. Once you've assured that the FM system, transmitter, and receiver are communicating and are synced, you want to make sure that the microphone is not on mute. I often see this happen where the teacher will put the microphone on mute and leave it there, and the hearing aid actually becomes disconnected or unsynced from the hearing aid after a certain amount of time. So you want to make sure that you don't leave it on mute for too long and that you are muting it when appropriate. There's different types of transmitters as well. Some transmitters you will wear on a loop around your neck, and that loop is very important because it's actually an antenna. So do not try to cut that or adjust that too much. You have to be very careful with it. Another type is this kind, where it has a 3.5 or 2.5 millimeter jack, to which you attach your lapel microphone, boom microphone, or neck loop. So it's important to remember that to make sure that this plug is all the way inside the hole. Otherwise you'll get an intermittent signal or no signal at all. So this is an example of a boom mic, which you would wear something like this, to where it's pretty close to your face. This is an alternative to the lapel mic. You get a better sound signal coming from this type of microphone. Once you've established that the cochlear implant is working appropriately, you want to go ahead and sync the FM transmitter with the receiver that's on the cochlear implant. Now, where the receiver or how the receiver is attached to the cochlear implant will depend on the style and model of the implant itself. Sometimes it will be a microlink receiver that's integrated. It's made specifically for that model implant that hooks onto the bottom of the battery compartment. There could be one that attaches to the speech processor. It could be one that is more of a universal receiver that attaches to a tone hook. So it really depends on the model. But once you've established that the FM system or the FM receiver is attached to the implant, you want to go ahead and make sure that the transmitter and the FM receiver on the implant are synced. To do this, it's a little bit different than how you would do it with a hearing aid. With a hearing aid, you're able to listen to it to hear for yourself if it's synced. With an implant, you can't do that. You really have to rely on the student to be able to give you feedback about whether or not they're hearing through the FM microphone. And you do that very similar by asking the student, you know, Michaela, can you hear my voice okay? What the student hears through their FM system will really depend on how their FM program is set up. Sometimes it will be FM only, and sometimes it will be FM plus microphone. Having the FM plus microphone allows the student to hear not only what's coming through the microphone that the teacher is wearing, but also hear what the students are saying around them. So both the microphone on their hearing aid and both the microphone for the FM system are activated at the same time. If it's FM only, then the student is only hearing what's coming through the microphone that the teacher is wearing. They will not be able to hear what the students are saying in the classroom. In a situation like that, it would be important to add another additional mic and create a multi-talker network so that the student is able to hear their peers by having the microphone pass around the room. And appropriate turn-taking rules and that kind of thing would need to be set up. So the next type of system we're going to discuss are personal sound field systems. And these come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Instead of wearing hearing aids with a boot and a receiver, or having a hearing aid with an integrated receiver, they might have something such as this that sits on their desk in front of them and comes to a speaker. Or they might have something like this that sits somewhere close to them on one side or the other, that also is relaying the message from the transmitter through a speaker. So they're not hearing it directly in their ears, but it's at a close range to them. And similar to the personal FM system, they have a transmitter. And it's important to always make sure that this is fully charged. You always want to leave your transmitters charging overnight. The last type of system is a sound field or classroom amplification system. These systems are usually composed of a transmitter, but instead of having a speaker that's located on the student's desk or receivers that are connected to their hearing aids, they'll have speakers in 4 corners of the room, or either centered in the room with speakers facing out. Every classroom system is set up a little bit differently. The main benefits of this type of FM system is that everyone gets the signal equally. So not only the student with hearing loss, but also their typical hearing peers are also getting the signal. And there's a lot of research that shows that this is beneficial for even kids with normal hearing to have an amplified signal.